Part 10 of Adaptation by Maxine Reynolds. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Part 10. At the end of the third decade, the Texcocan delegation was already seated in the Pedagogues' Lounge when Jerome Kennedy, Martin Gunther, Peter MacDonald, Frederick Buchwald, and three Genoese, Baron Leonard and the Honorable Russ and Modron, appeared. The Texcocan group consisted of Barry Watson, Dick Hawkins, and Nat Roberts to one side of him, Generalissimo Toller, and six highly bemedaled Texcocans on the other. Before taking a seat, Barry Watson barked, "Where's Amschel Mayer? I've got some important points to cover with him."
"Take it easy," Kennedy slurred. "For that matter, where's Joe Chessman?"
Watson glared at the other. "You know where he is." "That I do," Kennedy said. "He's purged, to use a term of yesteryear. At the rate you laddie-bucks are going, there won't be anything left of you by the time our half-century is up." He snapped his fingers, and a Genoese servant who'd been inconspicuously in the background hurried to his side.
"Let's have some refreshments here. What'll everybody have?"
"You act as though you've had enough already," Watson bit out. Kennedy ignored him, insisted on everybody being served before he allowed the conversation to turn serious. Then he said, slyly, "I see we've been successful in apprehending all your agents, or you know more of our affairs." "Not all our agents," Watson barked. "Only those on your southern continent. What happened to Amschel Mayer?" Peter MacDonald, who, with Buchwald, was for the first time attending one of the decade-end conferences, had been hardly recognized in his new girth by the Texcocan team. But his added weight had evidently done nothing to his keenness of mind. He said smoothly, "Our good Amschel is under arrest. Imprisoned, in fact." He shook his head, his double chin wobbling. "A tragedy." "Imprisoned? By whom?" Toller scowled. "I don't like this. After all, he was your expedition's head man." Barry Watson rapped. "Don't leave us there, MacDonald. What happened to him?" MacDonald explained. The financial and industrial empire he had built was overextended. A small crisis and it collapsed. Thousands of investors suffered. In brief, he was arrested and found guilty. Watson was unbelieving. "There is nothing you could do? The whole team? Couldn't you bribe him out? Rescue him by force and get him back to the ship? With all the wealth you characters control?" Jerry Kennedy laughed shortly. "We were busy bailing ourselves out of our own situations, Watson. You don't know what international finance can be. Besides, he dug his grave. That is, he made his bed." Kennedy signaled the servant for another drink and said, "Let's cut out this dismal talk. How about our progress reports?" "Progress reports," Barry Watson said. "That's a laugh. You have agents on Texcoco, we have them on Genoa. What's the use of having these conferences at all?" For the first time, one of the Genoese put in a word. Baron Leonard, son of the original Baron who had met with Amschel Mayer 30 years before, was a man in his mid-40s. He said quietly, "It seems to me the time has arrived when the two planets might profit by intercourse. Surely in this time one has progressed beyond the other in this field, but lagged in that. If I understand the mission of the pedagogue, it is to bring us to as high a technological level as possible in half a century. Already 3 decades have passed." The Texcocans studied him thoughtfully, but Jerry Kennedy waved in negation with the hand that held his glass. "You don't get it, Baron. You see, the thing is, we want to find out what system is going to do the most the quickest. If we cooperate with Barry's gang, everything'll get all mixed up." The Honorable Russ, now a wizened man of at least 70, but still sharply alert, said, "However, Texcoco and Genoa might both profit." Kennedy said happily, "What do we care? You gotta take the long view.
What we're working out here is going to be used on 500,000 planets eventually. He tried to snap his fingers. These two lousy planets don't count that much. He succeeded in snapping them this time. Not that much. Barry Watson said, "You're stoned, Kennedy." "Why not?" Kennedy grinned. "Finally perfected a decent brandy. I'll have to send you a few cases, Barry." "How would you go about doing that, Jerry?" Watson said softly. "Shucks, man. Our space liner makes a trip to Texcoco every month or so. Gotta keep up with you boys. Maybe throw a wrench or so in the works once in a while." Peter McDonald said, "Shut up, Jerry. You talk too much." "Don't talk to me that way. You find yourself having one hell of a time floating that loan you need next month. How about another drink, everybody? This party's dead." Watson said, "How about the progress reports? Briefly, we've all but completely united Texcoco. Minor setbacks have sometimes deterred us, but the march of progress goes on. We—" "Minor setbacks," Kennedy chortled. "Must have had to bump off 5 million of the poor slobs before that commune revolt was finished with." Watson said coldly, "We always have a few reactionaries, religious fanatics, misfits, crackpots, malcontents to deal with. However, these are not important. Our industrial potential has finally begun to roll. We doubled steel production this year. We'll do the same next. Our hydroelectric installations tripled in the past 2 years. Coal production is 4 times higher, lumber production 6 times. We expect to increase grain harvest 40% next season, and—" The Honorable Modron put in gently, "Please, Honorable Watson, your percentage figures are impressive only if we know from what basis you start. If you produced but 5 million tons of steel last year, then your growth to 10 million is very good. But it is still not a considerable amount for an entire planet." Buchwald said dryly, "If our agents are correct, Texcocon's steel production is something like a quarter of our own. I assume your other basic products are at about the same stage of development." Watson flushed. "The thing to remember is that our economy continues to grow each year. Yours spurts and stops, jerks ahead a few steps, then grinds to a halt or even retreats. Everything comes to a pause if you few on the top stop making a profit. All that counts in your economy is making money. Which reminds me, how in the world did you ever get out of that planet-wide depression you were in 3 years ago?" Peter McDonald grunted his disgust. Planet-wide depression, indeed. A small recession, a temporary readjustment due to overextension in certain economic and financial fields. From the other side of the table, Dick Hawkins laughed at him. "Where'd you pick up that line of gobbledygook, Peter?" he asked. Peter McDonald came to his feet. "I don't have to put up with this sort of impudence," he snapped. Watson lurched to his own feet. "Nor do we have to listen to your snide cracks about the real progress Texcoco is making. We don't seem to be getting anywhere." He snapped to his associates. "Hawkins, Toller, Roberts, let's go. 10 years from now, there'll be another story to tell. Even a blind man will see the difference." They marched down the pedagogue's corridor toward their spaceboat. Kennedy called after them, "10 years from now, every family on Genoa'll have a car. Wait'll you see. Television, too. We're introducing TV next year, and civil aviation. Be all over the place in 2-3 years." The Texcocan slammed the spaceport after them. Kennedy sloshed some more drink into his glass. "Slobs can't stand the truth," he explained to the others. End of Part 10.